Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a special treat for you all. Today we'll be customizing my first BJD on this channel, a Resinsoul Yan. You may have seen my tiny unboxing video of her back in April. It took a bit to figure out what I wanted to do with her, so I turned to my beloved D&D. And I stumbled upon a dragon species called the Mirage Dragon. Mirage Dragons are from the Feywild. Being a lover of both dragons and Fey, it seemed like a perfect match. Let's get into the concept art. I tried to keep the Mirage Dragon's color palette in her horns, tail, wings, and hair, also with her makeup. But I also decided to go for a more punk, scene type of style in her clothing with lots of rainbows because I love them. So this is Yan. She comes with magnetic horns, wings, and tail. Her tail comes apart into two sections. She also came with some lovely blue eyes. She's not my first BJD, but she'll be the first on this channel. First things first, let's remove all her magnetic pieces. Let's start with her wig. First we need to measure her head for the elastic. Now sew the ends of the elastic strip together. It should fit snugly to your doll's head. Now we need to wrap her head in plastic. This will protect it. Take a stretchy cloth, I'm using stretch jersey, and wrap it over the doll's head. Fit your elastic over top of it. Now sew that band to the cloth. Flip it inside out and trim to size. This is your wig cap. For hair, I purchased Passion from Shimmerlocks. I wanted pre-wefted hair if possible, but I couldn't find any in the right color. That's okay, we'll sew our own. For a tutorial on how to make sewn hair wefts, check out Delightful's channel. Basically, I sew down the middle twice, then zigzag along that. And then flip the weft and sew along the edge before zigzagging again. I cannot tell you how much my machine hates doing zigzag stitches. It's very frustrating. I also tend to make my wefts way too thick. I'm working on learning how to not do that. Sew the wefts to the wig cap in a spiral motion until you have a small circle on the top. Roll the last weft tightly and sew it down to that circle. I then boil wash the wig to get it to lie flat. This is what it looks like before I styled it. I had trouble making it stay on the doll. My friend Nox suggested using hot glue to make a sort of silicone cap. I had actual silicone, so I tried that first. I spread it over the top of the head to make a perfect fitting cap. And it made this boogery mess instead. So I swapped to the hot glue as Nox suggested. Which is totally out of frame. My bad. But it worked! Nox is a genius. She's a bit buried and in her hairband phase at the moment. We'll fix that in a second. There we go, a shaggy shortcut. Looks great with her horns in place too. As pretty as her eyes are, my concept calls for golden eyes, so these baby blues gotta go. I used 2-part epoxy resin with a single drop of white colorant to fill my eye molds. I don't know the size, I bought these off Etsy ages ago and they weren't labeled. Why 2-part and not UV? Somehow when I add colorant to UV resin, it never cures properly. So I just don't, to avoid wasting it. I popped the bubbles with a toothpick. You can also use a lighter if you have one. 48 hours later, they're cured and I can add details with polymer clay. I scratched in the little lines with a toothpick. I then add an indent for the pupil with a dotting tool. Time to add a thin layer of UV resin. This will keep the clay in place while we add colors. I then broke out my pastels. Usually I use acrylic paint for this, but I was curious how this would work out. I layered yellows, browns, and golds before adding some gold mica powder to the iris. I then placed 2 black rhinestones into the indents I made for the pupils. Clean up stray pastel with rubbing alcohol. I domed the top of the eyes. Not well. I ended up making a mess, so I just painted the resin around the eye to make the whole thing shiny. But the eyes are done. Now let's paint our magnetic parts. I started with the tail tip in a blue-green. For the horns, I painted the gold part black first, as my metallic paints are very transparent. I then layered gold on top and painted the horns themselves the same blue-green. Out of frame. Again. I did the same for the larger tailpiece, except on the spikes I made a gradient from blue-green to sky blue while the paint was still wet. I then broke out the pastels again to add some shading and highlights to the gold bits of her horns. And some gradients to the greens. I ended up with a fade from green to blue. Under her wings. This part was a bit tricky. I started with dark green, then while the paint was still wet, I mixed in a lighter green, blue, and magenta. Paint the tips black and then gold. I then used the blue-green paint on the scales. Afterwards, I did a black wash over everything to get into the tiny crevices between the wing membranes and scales. And then I dry brushed the scales with sky blue. The pieces turned out like this. If you thought we were done painting, think again. We still gotta paint her feet. I followed the same color palette and gave her sparkly blue claws. I then sealed the paint in with layers of Mod Podge before hitting all the pieces with Mr. Super Clear. Time to blush the body. I used a combination of pinks and browns with a white blender. Using the same combination, I blushed her face. Sadly, the footage of me adding her eyeshadow and sketching out her eyes was lost. I'm sorry, but this is the color scheme I'm going with. I kept building up the color around the eyes because MSC tends to dull lighter colors. I then brushed on pink eyebrows. Only to decide brown would look better. I then sketched in tiny eyebrow hairs. I then confidently broke out my acrylic paint. Okay, that's a fit, but I went super slowly and carefully, keeping water nearby in case I needed to erase anything. This footage is very sped up. Using brown paints, I detailed out her eyebrows. I added in her lower lashes. I just held my breath and went for it. Don't forget to paint her waterline. On BJDs, it's very noticeable. I then filled in her lips and used a metallic teal to add leopard spots and lip wrinkles, which you can't see in this shot. Time to add her upper lashes. I use Elmer's glue wall to do this. I cut the lash to the right size and then carefully glue one end. Once that's dry, I do the other end. Oh my god, I love how she looks with her eyes, she's so pretty! That's all the pieces painted. Time to string her together. There are a lot of tutorials online on how to do this. I recommend looking them up. Nox again came in clutch by suggesting I use pipe cleaners instead of wire to restring her. My hands thank them. The blue one ended up being too thick, so I swapped it out for white. I also took the time to paint her nails a sparkly blue, and added some piercings. And here she is in one piece again. Now I'm going to fly through the clothing because I value your time. I drafted up some pants. Check out Lomi's Playground on how to do this. They didn't quite fit right, so I had to alter them. The mock-up fit okay, so I continued on with the trip pants. They're decorated with eyelets, pleather belts, ribbons, zippers, and rainbow vinyl inside the netting. The jacket is a Requiem Arts pattern. I just embroidered it a lot. It took a few weeks. Once sewn together, the jacket still needed colorful rhinestones on the collar. I did make a vest for her top, but scrapped it. I used another Requiem Arts pattern for the corset instead, and went way off the rails while making it and made this instead. As you can see, she also got more piercings. And this is her completed outfit. Time for photos! I thought she'd look cute in a field of clover. Due to weather, I couldn't get many photos, but these are the best two. She stands on her own, which is nice. I'm really happy with how she turned out. She's definitely got Faye vibes, and her clothes turned out way better than anything I thought I could do. Woo! You're tall. I hope you enjoyed Yan's video. I may do more BJDs on the channel as I can afford them, so there'll be special treats. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next one.